Hey everybody, sorry, running a few minutes late. Things are a little hectic here. Now, on top of my daughter not having school this week and it being like a short camp, with my grandmother in the hospital because someone rear-ended her while texting and driving. Don't text and drive. And all other sorts of craziness going on. And we also have the entire customer support staff out on vacation. So those of you who are sending emails, I'm trying to respond to them in between everything else. But let's see. Okay, here we go. Open comments. And I did not get a chance to share today's links. We'll probably have lower view count than usual, lower attendance, maybe fewer questions. Some of you are already on family vacation, so I hope you're enjoying that. Let me just writing it into the Telegram channel so that you guys know to tune in, those of you who are online. Okay, so we have that. We have that. Okay, we are we're ready. Okay, so let's see. First things first. I recently added a survey to Molo9's site. You'll see it in the bottom left corner, and I moved the feedback button to the top right side. That survey is really just helping me to figure out which content you guys find most useful, which content you're looking to have added to the site, and if there's anything on different pages that you think should work differently than they do to keep improving the UX and UI. Those of you who have been here since the beginning think it's a massive upgrade. Those of you who are joining now, I keep getting, hey, can you change it more? So yes, we will continue to iterate with the UX and UI. If you just want to comment in that survey. I also set the survey so that you can submit your responses multiple times instead of just once. So if on a specific day you're looking for something and you don't find it, you can still click on the survey and drop the information in. You do not have to answer any questions. You can literally skip to the questions you want to answer in the survey. Yeah, so that's the latest thing. It was added to Molo9 this morning. With you guys joining the Facebook group, those of you who do answer the questions. So the biggest struggles I've been seeing are lead generation and copy, like creating high converting copy. So I purchased because telling all of you like 1 or 2 copywriters that you can hire is not really going to help, since they would very quickly be saturated in work. So I purchased from AppSumo. They had a few deals for AI-powered copywriters. I purchased both of them. I'm going to test them out in the coming weeks. Give you guys feedback if either of those are worth moving forward with. In terms of the master classes, hi Arctic, happy holidays. So if, here we go. How do I put the comments? Oops. I always forget how to put the comments here so that you guys can see them. There we go. Okay, so if you have not voted on which content goes up on Molo9 next, then you can do so here. Basically, here, let me drop this into the comments section. What you do is scroll to the bottom, and it has the wait list, and on the masterclass page, and we ask you to vote on the masterclasses. Not necessarily because you want the masterclasses. That is the soundtrack of my 5-year-old bossing our dogs around in the background, because she does not have school today. She might make a guest appearance. Usually she hangs out with the dogs, though. And yes, she's yelling 2 names because we have 2 dogs. Okay, so where is it? I answered how masterclasses fit into the grand scheme of how Molo9 content is created. I answered that here, but I could just run through it again for those of you tuning in. Basically, what happens is one of you write in a feedback form, or you contact support, or in the feedback form that's on the homepage, you ask for a specific process. And what I start with is uploading the checklist that I use. From there, some of you will come back with questions on the checklist, and I use that to expand it into a workbook. Then you come back with questions on the workbook. I expand that into the masterclass. And that goes like very granularly, like deep dive through how every step is implemented. Because as many of you may know, it's not like, if you know how to implementation is the expensive part. It's the hard part. So if you know how to implement, great. That's why top marketers are paid as much as they are. If you do not know how to implement, and you need to learn how to implement every single little step and be handheld through that, I have started adding project templates with instructions to the project portal, but the master classes are more for people who are beginners in marketing, and they need the guidance on how to implement each thing. The campaign planner shows you, when you click on recommendations, it shows you how to implement very specific tactics within the recommendations for that specific company in the campaign planner. But if you want to know like the whole general process start to finish for the playbooks that I use, that's where the master classes come in. So we start with the checklist, expand it into a workbook, expand that into a master class. Then from there, I'm able to take the master class and I convert that into the projects for the project portal. And I also convert that into, I adjust it and customize it so it fits into the campaign planner for the 20, I think we have like 28 different industries and 9 or 10 different business models now. So when you're voting on masterclass, you're not just voting on a masterclass, you're voting on what's added to the campaign planner and to the project portal next as well. Because yeah, once I deep dive into a topic and get to the point where I'm like writing out step by step how to do it, it's just easiest to then dump that into the project portal and campaign planner while it's fresh in my mind. With that, the way that I learn and the way that you learn may be completely different. There's nothing wrong with that. That is why I put this like similar content or the same content, same processes in multiple formats on Molo9. That's why you see it as a checklist, a workbook, a masterclass, in the project portal, in the campaign planner, because I think there's like 16 different ways that the human brain, originally they said there were 16 different ways, now they're saying there are 32 different ways that 32 different variants of how human brains learn. So by having all the content in different forms, we're trying to help as many of you to understand it the way that you learn best. If you have, like right now I'm working, or the next one I'm working on is the high converting content masterclass. If you have specific books or courses that you have read or watched on this topic, and you liked the way they laid out the information, send it over. That helps me to know how to structure the information I put on Molo9 and the format that was easiest for you to comprehend. So that just helps me with the way that I lay out the information in our master classes. If you have books and courses that you took that you hated, also send them over. You could send them over to support team at molo9.group, and that will also help us know, okay, this is not helpful, this was not useful, I need it formatted in another way. I wish that the teacher had outlined this, or they didn't cover this enough. That just helps us to figure out how to get the information to you in a way that helps you. With Molo9, a lot of you use it as your secret weapon, which means you don't share it with colleagues, which is fine. But it means the only way that Molo9 really grows is either paid acquisition, because we don't have word of mouth, which is usually the highest converting one, or by your company's growing, hiring employees, and then getting employees' accounts. So obviously we want our tools to be in there to be useful and helpful for you to grow your agency larger and larger, because that also helps us grow. So it's a win-win situation. That's what we get out of creating all the content, providing it to you. What else? Now, there were questions about the project portal and how to use it. Let me start here. So we have two different ways that you white label Molo9. It's again in the FAQ. I recently updated all the videos in the FAQ to match our new UX. Those of you who saw the videos before I did this realize how atrocious it used to be. And so there's two ways to repackage what we have on the platform for your clients easiest. I am working on another one to release next year. If you know about the history of Molo9, basically what happened is a friend who's a CEO said she couldn't afford my my consulting services when the world was on fire with the COVID pandemic. So she asked, hey, you said you were going to eventually start selling your information via playbooks. When are you going to upload that? So the very first version of Molo9 came out last September, a little bit over a year ago. Hi. Sorry, one second. Your Barbies are talking too loud? Well, then you can close your bedroom door. You don't need to close this door. Sorry. My daughter's 5, and when she wants to close my office door, the next thing that happens is one of the dogs is painted pink. There's artwork on the walls. So just needed to prevent a in-house catastrophe there for a second. Okay, where were we? Oh, okay. So it started out with the playbooks. Then people were asking, hey, does this part of this playbook fit for my company? Do I actually need to implement it? Are you sure my process can't be shorter? And that's when I realized that there needed to be software coupled with the information that I was giving. So that's when I approached a few different programmers. They kind of all laughed at me, said it would be very expensive to build, or like what I wanted to build wasn't possible. So I bought a bunch of computer programming books, learned a few computer programming languages, thanks to genetics. Knock on wood. That was like learning new things is one of the things that's pretty easy for me. And so I learned a few computer programming languages, and we built a very rudimentary version of the Molo9 software last year. Then we launched on AppSumo based on user feedback. We were able to create different levels. That's where the agency, brand, and startup tiers came out. And then AppSumo asked us to come back on for Black Friday. And then Black Friday, they loved the reaction of the community, so they asked us to then do 2 deals running at the same time for the Plus members to have the Black Friday deal, access to the Black Friday deal for longer. And then we have the marketplace deal for everyone else who's not a Plus member. So the software that you see and that's been built has been based on, it's always been based on user feedback. Hey, Addie, it'd be great if this could be added. Or this is a little bit confusing. Can this look more like this? People sending screenshots of software that's working for them. I take that and then I go and I learn how to build it. So you're getting high quality information because that's based on like my 12 years of experience and whatnot. But with the computer programming part, with the software part, I am a very young software engineer. I would barely call myself a software engineer because my code looks atrocious, but it works. It does what it needs to in order to get you the information in the right areas. So I'm learning how to build out another white label function so that we can start offering that next year. It'll be the report builder, but that is going to take a little bit of time because I don't have 12 years of experience computer programming. I have 12 years of experience marketing, or more than that now. With computer programming, I have barely under a year, like less than a year under my belt. So yes, when you guys have feature requests, I'm trying to get them done. Our feature requests come out much slower than our content requests, simply because the content I know off the top of my head. The software features, I have to go learn how to build them and then figure out how to add them to what we have. Okay, let's see. Next, what were the other questions? There was a question about white labeling. There was a question about the project portal. The project portal walkthrough is in the white labeling section, but if you just want to see the project portal itself, then you click this link, and that gives you the walkthrough of the project portal. All right. I think that's everything that's been emailed. Oh, this is a final thing. Okay, so some of you go to Molo9's like main website, and you click resources, and then you click on the checklists and workbooks from there. These the checklists and workbooks under the resources section. Those are for people who do not have a Molo9 account. So it will it will downgrade you to the free account if you click to access the checklists and resources here, and it will also charge you for the checklists and workbooks. So do not go here to access them. With the AppSumo deal, with all of our subscriptions, we include... sorry, 1 second. With all of our subscriptions, we include the checklists and workbooks. Right here. Come on. In the library. So you have access to all of them for free right here. Don't go to the resources section on the main site and buy them. Those are designed as lead magnets for people to buy something small before they upgrade to purchasing the software. So you already have all the checklists and workbooks that we have available. You actually have more here than there are in the resources tab as well. We do not offer everything that's in the checklist and workbook section for our AppSumo lifetime deal members and our subscribers. Everything that you guys have access to is actually not available in the resources section on the main site. Next. Oh, there was a question about how to change your emails. Okay, so if you click account management, it will take you to this page. You can change your email. Sorry, 3 times in a row is not a good sign. Give me 1 second. I have no idea who that is. Okay. I use Google Voice so that people have to tell me who they are when they're calling, so that I don't get spam callers can't get through. Anyways, okay, so you go here to account management. You can change your name, your display name, and your email address. Your username is private to you. You're the only, well, you and us on the back end are the only two people who can see what your username is. Display name publicly as, that's where anywhere on the site where your name is displayed, that's what it'll look like. So you can change that at any time there. If you want to change your password, you just click log out. Scroll down and you'll see an option where you can say that you forgot your password. If it's not appearing, go to molo9.com. After you log out, click login, and then you should see an option where it says forgot password. You click that. It'll send you a forgotten password link for you to reset your password. Okay, now I think that was all of the Molo9 specific questions. Let's hop into the questions you guys asked about marketing. I put them in a list over here. Okay. This question is, what did you do differently the last time you interviewed your most recent recruit? Oh, okay. So if you go to the outsource section, this is a new section that I just started adding this, so there's not a lot of content here. And I'm literally publishing my job descriptions and whatnot here when you guys ask me to, because there's a lot to be done for Molo9. So unless you request it, I'm literally focusing on what's been requested in terms of content and features. I'm not just creating content for the sake of creating content. One of the things that makes Molo9 different from so many other platforms out there that offer you marketing advice is that I personally have implemented what I'm showing you, so I know it works. I don't have ghostwriters who are writing the content for me, just making up crap that may or may not work if you implement it. So, and that's like, I try to keep everything up to date. You'll notice that sometimes content comes down and then it comes back up a couple weeks later because it's outdated. I don't want you implementing something that's outdated. So with the content we have here, with the outsource section, if you guys ask for one of my job descriptions, I throw it up here. If you guys do not ask for it, I am working on other content that's been requested. All right, so on this page, to answer this question, what I do differently with recruiting, for outsourcing, I show you how I like the content or the briefs that I give to people that I outsource to. As a general rule of thumb with outsourcing, I outsource the tasks that make me the least amount of money and I find the most boring first. So if I find a task boring, that's the first thing I'm outsourcing when I have too much on my plate. If I cannot charge a lot, if it's a very low margin item, then I'm outsourcing it as soon as I can. The formula I use is, I'm going to send it to you. It's called AOH. You've probably never heard of this acronym because I made it up. It's automate, outsource, hire. So I look for ways to automate first. That's where software sites, deal sites like AppSumo are great, because you can get software for anywhere between like what is it, like $20 and $200, and that's so much cheaper than hiring somebody full-time, and it's cheaper and faster than outsourcing because you set an automation once and it just runs. So I look to automate first, then I look for outsourcing, then I look to hire. In the very infrequent case that I have to hire, what I do is first I make a project, and then I have the project, I have a project roadmap with 3 phases, 3 deliverables, and I hire like 3 to 5 people to all complete that project, that small project. After the first milestone, they're paid a percentage of the project, and I can see after the first milestone, are they naturally gifted in this, or are they just like, this is a job for them, they hate it. Like, I don't know if you've ever been to like certain restaurants when they cook, you can tell the chef like loves what he or she does. And then you go to other restaurants and the food tastes like this is a day job. They want to be working somewhere else. They hate this. There's no, you can taste the love in the food. My friends always laugh when I say that at a restaurant, like, oh my gosh, you could taste the love, the passion for cooking. You could taste it in the food. Anyways, you like with having this project format, you can see very quickly by the end of phase one, like by the time they give you the first deliverable, are they passionate and naturally gifted at this? Or are they doing it just for the money and it's going to be like crappy work? Like the difference between the work you see from 2 different people in a group of 5 can be like astronomical. So I start with outsourcing with the 3 phase. By the end of phase 1, I usually only have 2 or 3 people. I've cut the number of people who are working on the project. By the end of phase 2, I have 1 person. I've made a decision. There's only 1 person who's working on the completion of the project. And then they give me the final deliverable for phase 3. And that tends to be the person that when I need to hire, that's the person that I hire. Sorry, I'm drinking. Today's crazy. I'm drinking lunch while talking to you guys. Okay. What works best? If you have questions that you want me to take that are not from the questions you guys asked on Quora, you can just drop them into the comment section at any time. What works best for technology startups? I know Reddit started without comments. For example, is it better to launch a basic website first and to work on enhancements slowly but surely, or try to make an extremely sophisticated product before releasing? Do not create a sophisticated product before releasing. You might be working on something that that people end up not even liking. With Molo, I take Molo9 as an example. You want an MVP to validate that the core of your offering is something people value. So the UX we're working on, the UI we're working on, the software is being built over time. The content, though, is my initial question is, are people willing to pay for this content? Is this something that they find worth buying? When that was validated and answered as yes, then I went to try to find a developer and instead ended up learning to code myself. I would not recommend. I know a few founders who have built very advanced software solutions and they don't have a single customer. Molo9, when we had just playbooks, no software, we had more than 300 customers just for the playbooks. So I knew that what I had and what I was creating was of value to people. You want to make sure that what you're creating with your MVP, it's not like something really crappy that you need to beg people to use. It's giving them the bare minimum of what they need or what they want, so that you can validate that people are willing to pay for what you're creating. What are 3 things that all affiliate marketers need to create a successful business? Okay, the first is a following. You can't monetize your affiliate links if you have nobody clicking on them. And the second is definitely your communication strategy. That's why I think the silver bullet section, I put it at the top of the campaign planner, because that's something you should constantly be looking at. Anytime you're releasing content, look at the silver bullet section. There's your communication strategies. So marketing is a combination of math and psychology. Math is logical. Human psychology is not. There's a really good book. It's called Predictably Irrational, and it explains all these different psychological phenomenons that like are very common amongst us as humans. And there's another book called The Laws of Human Nature by Robert Greene. I read a lot. That book explains that in order to survive and not like be in an insane asylum, you have to, at your core, believe that you are a logical being. So do not walk around telling people that they're illogical, because they will disagree with you and they'll be very upset. But know that at your core, you have to believe that you're reasonable, logical, like your thought processes are well-grounded, just in order to be like a sane human. There's time for introspection. Not a lot of people take time for introspection. That's fine. That's, I think, based on your religion, your upbringing, what your prerogative, I don't know, multiple things. But human psychology, as marketers, we need to know that human psychology it's not A plus B equals C. It's A plus B sometimes equals Q, but in some instances it can equal R, and sometimes it even equals Z. So you just have to know the psychological formulas and leverage them. That's it. Like, you can't, yes, you could argue with me that, but this isn't logical. Like, okay, you could argue with me about that, but do you want to make money, or do you want to have a perfect math formula? Because the more time you spend in marketing, the more you realize you don't pick logic. You pick, like, what are the psychological principles that are going to help me to get people to understand the value of this and to make a purchase. Let's use those psychological principles. That's what the Silver Bullets walks you through. That's something that you really need as an affiliate marketer. You need to know, you need to understand human psychology, how to communicate to your community, to your following. That falls under the communication strategy bucket. So you have following, communicating to them, and then the third one would obviously be picking great things that they want, like understanding them. Something that's been key for Molo9, and very helpful for Molo9, is that I've been in the trenches as a marketer. I've been through hell. I've done the crazy flights to get to a client only to have the client tell me I'm wrong, and then a week later tell me they have a great idea, and their great idea is to do what I told them a week before. I've been through that zoo. I used to, before COVID, I spent up to 7 months of the year traveling. If you could see it. So I have a pink bag here, and I have a black one just like it, and in the closet, and they were my two go bags that I knew I had to be ready with a pile of black t-shirts, black pants, and a few scarves. And at any moment, a client could call and say, we need you on a flight. The next flight to our city from yours is this one. We already bought your ticket. That was my lifestyle for a few years. So I'm very empathetic to equipping marketers with things that make it easier for them to do their job well. Because with marketing, it's very strategic, but it can also be very high stress, especially because you understand the illogical nuances and like rabbit holes that we have to jump through to get consumers to make a purchase, and your clients don't always. So like having empathy, I would add a fourth one there, having empathy and like a heart, or like having a passion for helping those that you are creating your content for or your work for. I think that is more important than a passion for the project or the product that you're building. Because if you have a passion for the product and the product is your first love, you may spend more time making sure everything looks beautiful and perfect, but you're making it beautiful and perfect for yourself and not for somebody who's going to buy it. And so that's why, like, Molo9, we're very feedback driven. We want to know what you think, what you need, how we can help you more. When you notice companies that have that same mentality, they're looking at how to help you more, they tend to do a lot better because they're focused on helping people rather than just on creating something that has pretty buttons. Okay. What are some good books for a JavaScript club? I have one over here. Okay, so I will tell you, this one I'm really enjoying. I'm like 1/3 of the way through. I will tell you, the only downside to this book is the code in it is outdated. So you have to go, not to the GitHub that repository that they link in here, you have to go to Packet's profile on GitHub, and they have the code updated. Do not look at the coding examples in here. Look at like the explanation behind the coding examples, but do not look at the actual code because that's outdated. And it's very frustrating when you're studying a new language and, excuse me, and what you're learning is wrong and giving you errors on your computer. So you can't even like, it's useless to learn things that are outdated. So I would say this one's a great place to start. It's React projects. For me, I have found that with learning computer programming languages, it's easier for me to start with books and to look at creating micro projects than it is for me to just sit there and look at the minutia of this is what an object is. This is why an object matters. This is what a class is. This is why a class matters. I need it in context. I need high level first and then down to like looking at how each piece works. So that's why I recommend that book. If you are somebody who needs to understand each piece before you look at the whole puzzle, then you probably don't want to ask me this question because I don't learn the same way you do. But what I do with computer programming is, so I start with a book that walks me through projects. Then I go to Udemy and I look at a Udemy instead of YouTube, because on Udemy, it's in their financial best interest to answer your questions if something is outdated. And you'll see some courses have a huge community, so your questions are answered faster. So I go to Udemy, see courses on like micro projects there as well, and I have once that's my baseline. Sometimes there's an overlap in content that's taught between the two, but that's great because it just helps to reinforce it. And then from there, I kind of figure out like which way I need to dive deeper. Yeah. Okay. So what % of the internet do you believe will be D-apps by the year 2030? I have no idea. I am not a thought leader in the software industry at all. If you have marketing questions, I would love to help you. But when it comes to software, I am self-taught and very early on in my learning journey. Let's see. I'm scrolling through some of these questions because they're not marketing questions. What is the most important character trait of a strong entrepreneur? I think being teachable. Almost every entrepreneur I've met that has decided they know everything and they can't learn anything new has been back in the corporate world working for somebody else within 3 years, sometimes just a couple of months. The next one would be, so one is teachable, like passion for learning new things, passion for getting their hands dirty. They have to be adaptable. The startup space is more like a game of rugby. You have no idea what the other team is going to throw at you, and you have to be able to bob and weave at a moment's notice. And you take a lot of punches. It is not like a game of golf. I've tried working with a few different people who came right from the corporate world, wanted to launch their own startup, and they wanted it to be like a game of golf. And while corporations can operate like that because there are so many people in it, at like ensuring that it's like a cruise ship that can stay on course, and there's so many people making tiny changes that you are not even aware of in order to ensure that you can stay on course. With a startup, you don't have that luxury. You're more like the tiny boat, and you don't want to you want to look for smooth waters, but you don't always get smooth waters, and you need to know how to bob and weave around the waves in order to keep your ship afloat. Okay. What is the best way to promote my NFTs on Pinterest? Oof. I am not gonna lie, I have zero experience with this, so I could throw out some ideas. Everyone I know who's working in marketing for NFTs, they're not on Pinterest. They're actually they're on Twitter, getting a lot of sales through being active on Twitter and building their Twitter communities, or they're on Telegram and they're active there and building their communities on Telegram. I have not heard of anyone using Pinterest for NFTs. So if you found something that works, I'm sure that multiple people within the Molo9 community would love to know. Let's see. Next. What do marketing techniques mean? I have no idea. You'd have to give it to me in context. Because so there are some people in the marketing space who have a formal education in marketing and they use terminology properly. And then there are some people who are self-taught marketers who took like a course here or there and they do not use terminology properly. So in order for me to properly explain this and define it, you'd have to send me the context. What is social media marketing? How do you do it and why? Wow. That is a very, very big topic. Okay. We're not going to dive into that one right now because that could probably be an entire course. And I don't think I would do it justice if I were to answer it in the few minutes we have left. What are some examples of good marketing campaigns? Oh my gosh. I just saw one, actually two, that worked on me personally. So with marketing, you know how generally you expect to see between 6 and 27 brand impressions before somebody makes a purchasing decision. And so what I define as like a great marketing campaign is I saw one advertisement on it and boom, made the purchasing decision. Some of you know I do like a very clean diet, paleo keto. So I always fail the glucose test that you have to take in the US to prove that you're not diabetic. Because you drink this like totally garbage drink, and 25% of people who are on the keto paleo diet, one of those diets, 25% of them get a false positive. So then I always have to get the diabetic kit, take my glucose for a couple of weeks afterwards, prove to my doctor that it was a false positive, and then I can move on. So this latest time I failed the test, I went on Amazon. They had a limited deal, and they had a very sleek video that was done by the founder that just like nailed it for me. It was a 6-minute video by the founder, and he was talking about how like, hey, you're crazy, in a rush, your life is hectic, you don't want to have like this giant kit that you bring with you everywhere. You want something that's small, easy to use, you can use it on the go, and on top of that, we have an app that syncs everything from your Apple Watch. Like, so I wear an Apple Watch when I work out. It syncs everything from the Apple Watch. They have a food library that's already populated based from the internet. So like almost every food I've ever needed to add to my food diary to show my doctor, it's in there already. And then it's Bluetooth enabled. So as soon as I take my glucose, it syncs with I'm typing it in here right now. It syncs with my phone. So it shows exactly what my glucose was like after these different meals and at which times. I'm sending you guys the link to this product. I thought their videos that they had on their Amazon product page, they were really good. But you can also take a look at the company here. Okay, and then the next one that I thought was really good was I don't know if you know Mel Robbins. She made something called the High Five Journal, and I'm always looking for like mental performance things that keep. I believe strongly in mental hygiene being like preventative care. There is an unfortunately high suicide rate within the startup space. So that is why I do have this. I'd call it a passion project on the side. There's this company it's not a company, it's a brand. With anytime I find like things that are good for mental health, for founders, for those who are grinding on their own, I drop it in here. But this latest one, I just got it yesterday. Going to add it to 9apple soon. They had very good marketing. The High Five Daily Journal. And you even see some of their marketing like in the book, in the first couple of pages. They tell you, oh, share this, post this. We'd love to support you in your journey. I thought that their campaign on Instagram, they had an Instagram story that was really good, that just showed you like the first couple of pages of the book. Okay. How valuable is Digital Marketing Institute qualification, and how recognizable is it to big digital agencies? I don't know what that is, so I cannot answer it properly, but what I can tell you is a lot of marketing companies have tried to be like the Oracle for marketing, where they have you're certified in different things. Some people who don't know a lot about marketing, they find these certifications very valuable. I'd say the more marketing experience that a person has, the less valuable they find those certifications, and the more they're looking at the KPIs in your resume, like what growth numbers have you hit, and how fast did you hit them. By using digital marketing, can you start running new strategies to boost your business online? Yes, obviously, yes. Digital marketing, you should think of it at a fundamental level as just a way that you're finding and communicating. You're finding people that want to buy what you're selling, and then you're communicating with them in a way that makes it easy for them to understand why they should buy your solution. That's basically what marketing is at like it's very basic level. Can social media marketing be mandatory for my website ranking? So as of a couple years ago, it's I know Google's algorithm started taking into account engagement on certain social media platforms when they're deciding where and how to rank your content. So yes, I would say with social media, it's better to be a few places and get great engagement than to be everywhere with watered down crappy content that gets zero engagement. A trick that you can use to increase your engagement on LinkedIn is I forget what it's called. Hold on, sorry. I want to give you guys the link. Here we go. Okay, so it's called Padua from Star Wars. This is the referral link that you can use in order to get free credits. I think it's, last time I checked, it was like 100 free credits. Let me see, what is it now? Okay, so when you use that link, you get 500 credits to use with Padua. And then you use those credits to, they have automated pods that you can join. And they basically help to increase your engagement and your organic reach on LinkedIn. It's basically you're getting likes, but you're getting likes from niche communities. And this has, like, you might be thinking, okay, so what's interesting to do with this is have a post, create a post, put set it to get like 100 likes in the Padua app. You'll see that you end up getting like 150 or 200 likes, because the way that the Padua software works or app works is it times the engagement that you get from the automated pods in such a way that it increases your organic reach. So some people say, oh, it's cheating, but what it's doing is it's tripping the ranking algorithm on LinkedIn to give you more organic views and thereby give you more organic reach. So a fun test for you could be to post something to LinkedIn and then the next day post something else, like see how many views it gets, post something else the next day, use Padua, and you'll notice that the view count that you have for the next post is exponentially higher just because you use the Padua engagement app. I don't know of anything similar on other social media platforms right now. I used to have quite a few JavaScript chunks that I would drop into Google Dev Console and run on different social media platforms, and it would like upvote, mass follow, all those. But they have stopped working. And if you go to Instagram, you'll notice I have a lot of different accounts. It's because Instagram closed my account every time it caught me using one of those scripts. So I've had to reopen my accounts multiple times. Okay. Can I use other people's videos and for my advertising on Facebook? Not without their consent. You do need a video release form from them. What are the best books for affiliate marketers? Give me 1 second. So, Adam Clark, yeah. Adam Clark releases a new version of this every year. It's a really great place to start. It's, if you have the SEO project template, we cover, he goes into depth on a lot of different things in here. He boils the ocean. You don't need to do all of that. You can, the project template that we have shows you how to rank #1 for your business name and start an evergreen project, or rank your client for #1 for their business name, and how to start an evergreen SEO project. This, if you want to run an SEO agency and you want to offer like technical SEO and multiple SEO services, and you want to have your content like be killer, this is a great one to look at if you want to have your blogs ranking top all ranking for long tail keywords, or specific very competitive keywords. This is a really good book. Aside from books, there's a tool called SpyFu. It's on the Molo9 deal page. Our link doesn't change, but the deal that's tied to our link does. So I would just click there and you'll be able to see whatever the latest deal is. Sometimes they don't offer any deal, which is annoying, but other times they'll give you like 30 days free or 60 days free or 30 days free, and then your next 30 days are like half off or something like that. So that's a good tool because it gives you more than just this. This is static information, that's dynamic information, that's information based on the latest market data. This book I would highly recommend. It basically, the outsource section that I have shows you a few of my job descriptions I use. This teaches you all the concepts about like how to get started with outsourcing. It's really great in helping you to understand just like how to find and recruit better freelancers online. The thing I would say about outsourcing is it is easiest to outsource what you know and not what you don't know. So I've tried outsourcing different computer programming projects, and because I'm not like here with computer programming, the way I wrote the job description, the way I defined what I needed, it didn't communicate what I needed in a way that programmers understood. So I ended up with really crappy outcomes and projects. With marketing, because it's something that like I know in my sleep, it's much easier for me to outsource marketing tasks just because I can very quickly spot if someone's good or bad and what they're doing wrong and tell them, no, I need you to do this instead. That's something to keep in mind when outsourcing. It's always easier to outsource tasks that you know very, very, very well. That's why if you notice in our outsource section, I have like for the web design project, when I outsource it, I tell them exactly which plugins I want. Like, I don't want you to build whatever you feel is right for the web development community. No, I want you to build this website with this template and with these plugins, and I need all of this done in this exact way. Like, yeah. That's my little quip on outsourcing. And then this is a pretty good book on just how to use social media, how the different social media platforms compare for when acquiring customers and building your following. He shares some interesting tactics in here, and he does have actionable steps in here, which I really appreciate, because some marketing books, they talk all about theory. They don't give you, this is what to do to implement. And implementation is the expensive part. It's the part where you can make or break. It's the part where you can waste a lot of money on dumb mistakes. So I like this book because it has, and I recommend it to my friends who are non-marketers who want to do their own social media marketing, because it has various sections where like he'll talk about the theory high level, give you a story behind it, but then he walks you through the implementation. And then there's another one that I don't have a physical copy of. My husband doesn't let me buy too many physical books anymore because, okay, in fairness, we have veto power over each other's purchasing decisions. So the shelf you see behind me, there is another one right outside the office on that wall. And then there's a third one that I have my eyes on right now that's on the other wall. So we have a lot of books in this house. So that's why I can only purchase so many books, like physical copies. I do end up having to throw a lot of them away because you can only keep so many books on hand. Let me get you the name of the other book, though. And then if there are no other questions, I think we're going to sign off for today. And I will see you guys next week. What is it called? Okay. There we go. 100 million offers. Yeah. Okay, so those are the books I'd recommend for affiliate marketing. The rest of the questions we're gonna have to get to next week. I will see you guys all after the holiday. For those of you who celebrate Christmas, Merry Christmas, Happy Christmas, depending on where you are. And enjoy. Take care. Have a good weekend. Bye.